So welcome everyone to the SaaS Connect Roundtable today. We are so excited to have you. My name is Tamara and I'm the community manager here at Cloud Software Association. We are stoked to be doing these roundtables again. Typically we do these at our SaaS Connect conferences, but we love doing these online as well. So how can we do this virtually and get people all in one room talking about particular partnerships topics? So again, just as a reminder, everyone, feel free to turn on your cameras. We'd love to have an interactive conversation today. We want you to get connected with each other and really participate. We have two amazing partnerships experts leading our roundtable. We have Aidan Weinrib, Head of Partnerships at Wizehire, and we have Gloria Castillo, Senior Manager, Partner Programs at Loopio. Today, they're going to be leading a discussion around successful data and reporting practices for channel programs. So just as a reminder, we are going to be recording this session today to be able to share it with the rest of our community afterwards. So just keep that in mind. And with that, I'd love to hand it over to our host. Take it away.
Aidan, go right ahead.
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name's Aidan. I am the head of partnerships at Wizehire, as Tamara just mentioned. I've been at Wizehire for about 3 years now and grew the team from just solo partnerships to a team of 7. And our program is really focused on one specific referral partner. And throughout my career in partnerships at Wizehire and as well previous, I was working at Bench Accounting in channel programs as well as strategic partner programs, figuring out what KPIs we should be tracking, what can we be tracking. There are so many different layers to them, has always been like a mystery box to unlock and something I'm really curious to learn about how other people are approaching these questions for their programs. So I'm excited to talk about some of the things that I've learned and what we've developed along the way at Wizehire, but I'm also really curious to hear from other people in the group, how they're approaching it, and if there's things that I can take away to apply to my program from you guys. So excited to chat. Gloria, I'll give it over to you.
Amazing. Thank you, Aidan. My name is Gloria, and I work at Loopio. It's a response management automation tool, Canadian company. And I have been in partnerships for tech for the last 4 years, I would say. So it hasn't been that long, but I've been tasked at my 2 organizations, previously Docebo, on really building a partner program and look at everything that goes from partnership agreements to onboarding of new partners, training and certification, to doing the role of a partner manager and really maintaining and building those relationships with partners. So with hands in different areas of the partnership function, it's always good to say, hey, this is why the partnership function, it's great for the company. Let me show you some of the things that we're accomplishing through our partners and with our partners, which it could be tricky because there's tons of things to measure. There's tons of things to look at that could be beneficial to the measurement of a partner program. But again, it varies by company. So again, I'm happy to share some of the data that we track and measure our program on, but I'm also here to hear from you and learn. So if we can get started, we do have a question for you all, and I'm going to drop it into the chat. And if you take just a moment to think about what really is the main metric that your organization is using to measure your partner program, partner influence revenue. That's very interesting. How about for yourself, Aidan? Tell us what's what.
For us, it's a partner source revenue. The way that we also track this right now, because Wizehire is SaaS, which of course means that there's a subscription to it, but our clients can really easily pause their service at any time. So the way we measure churn is really unique. And the way that we measure revenue is based on a lot of estimates of what that might look like over time. So we have both looking at new signups as our most tangible way of seeing sourced revenue. And then we look back retrospectively at what our cohorts are actually producing revenue-wise. and try to make estimates of what that might look like in the future based on the industries that we're focusing on. So I feel like sourced revenue kind of looks a little bit different for every person in the way that they actually, or at least mine is relatively unique in the way that we're looking at sourced revenue. I'm curious to hear for you, Gloria, if sourced revenue is relevant and how it's measured.
Absolutely. I'm having a great time reading your comments. And Adam, I want to get back to you and I want to put you on the spot. But I also want to get back to you and also Emma when we talk about influence revenue. But for us, of course, revenue is it's one of the things that we track. But one thing that we also try to make sure that we let the company know is, hey, what happens when an opportunity comes in and there's a partner attached to that opportunity? Does it close faster? Does it close? What's the win rate compared to an opportunity that doesn't have a partner attached? So these are not metrics that a lot of people in the organization are looking at, but it's our job in the partnerships team to make sure that we collect that data and we say, hey, this is the reason why we're here. We're not in competition with you, which, we can have a whole discussion about sales and partnerships and the relationship in an organization. But really to say, hey, use our partners because we are providing a whole product approach with our technology and our partner services, whatever else they may offer, to really make our customers successful. And it equals to deals closing faster and deals closing at a higher rate than if a partner is not attached to that. So that is one thing that we definitely track at Loopio. And I'm interested, is there anybody else that tracks these kinds of things like sales velocity and win rate with partner opportunities?
I won't be able to speak to specific people since for my context, like I work with a lot of partnership managers across partner stack. I'm specifically usually working with really early stage partner programs, people who might just be spinning it up, or they might be fewer than a couple dozen employees. So really small teams who are typically kind of just getting started. I have worked with some in the past who've noticed that like maybe their churn rate is different. The average customer life cycle is either quicker or slower when it's sourced through partner. And that helps them identify whether or not their partners are kind of selling with the right pain points or selling to the right people. I've seen that kind of need to be addressed. It's like, oh, my partners are all churning after 3 months, the people they're bringing in. So like maybe they're not quite pitching it right. I have to circle back with them and kind of correct some of their messaging.
That's very interesting. It's a great perspective to have with you in Partner Stack, because probably all of us know, the PRM. So you work with a lot of partner managers and you get to see a lot of what all of us go through. But I'm very interested also in what you mentioned in your message, the early stage of the partner recruitment method and those results. Yeah. Can you elaborate a little bit more?
Sure, happy to. So what'll happen often is if you're starting a new partner program, it can be like, hey, our North Star metric here is going to be revenue. A lot of times people who come into partnerships might be coming with like a lateral move. They're not maybe necessarily. I've seen some really interesting stuff with people. Like a really common refrain I hear is like, hey, so I kind of fell into this partnerships job. Is there a diploma program or some standard operating procedure I should be following, or are we all making it up as we go along? And that's something I hear a lot. And so, the boss who may or may not have a clear idea of what partnerships in fact is, or maybe he has his own view or spin on it, he's thinking revenue, bottom line revenue. So of course, the person who comes into the partnerships job goes focused on that. But there's a lot of steps between getting a partner on and having them get their first sale, right? There's a recruitment funnel, and that's, reaching out to people, getting them on. There's that activation or enablement side of things, getting them kind of spun up, knowing enough about the product, or at least giving them the content they need to promote your product. And then the sales cycle itself. So if people are not in an early stage partner program, if people are not reporting on those stages, you're kind of going to your boss without any real, hey, it's month 2 and I still don't have my first sale yet. If you can't speak to how much you've put in the top of those 2 funnels that still need to be come through, you're going to have an awkward conversation with your boss around in Q1, there's been no results. So that'll often be like, I've reached out to 400 prospects. I've had conversations with 23 of them. 3 of them have joined. I'm moving those 3 towards their first sale. That's a lot better than just having a big goose egg in your first quarterly meeting.
Yeah, thank you so much, Adam. And we do have, Aidan and I were discussing about partner acquisition, and maybe Aidan, I'll just throw that question over to you. Like when we talk about approaching partner acquisition and having a large number of partners or looking more at key strategic partners, what is your view on that? And what are some of the things that you've learned?
Partner acquisition is really, really top of mind for me right now, because the way that we're going about acquiring partners has changed relatively quickly in the past 6 months, as things have changed a lot in our company. So initially, the way that we were going about acquiring partners was through basically like near bound. So we were acquiring partners in a way that was quite meta, whether the primary lead source was our clients. So within our sign-up flow, we asked our clients if they were working with people who were within our persona. And if they were, if they were already registered with our program, they could select that partner from our drop-down list. But if their partner wasn't within that drop-down list, they could give us their email. And so that provided about 30% of our partners that we have right now. We also had a lot of handoffs from the sales team, and we didn't have to do any outbound partner acquisition for the past 2.5 years. There was some outbound partner acquisition I did really, really early on. But what we're finding now is that the industries that we developed that were really near bound were really impacted in Q4 of last year. Q3 and Q4 slowed down for us. And so now we have to go about building a much more just building an outbound motion that's a lot more functional for us than we had before. We don't really have the luxury of being able to rely on our existing customers to source leads for us now. And so we've made quite a bit of changes, and I feel like I have to screw my sales hat back on, which I haven't worn for 5 years. So it's an interesting motion, but what we have thought a lot about in the way that we're going about doing this, the things that we're really focused on reporting, is the diversification of the industries that we're working in. We have a really specific persona, which is small business coaches. So within that group of people, we're demonstrating to the company the industries that those business coaches are in, as well as trying to diversify from being just a business coach partner program to a service partner program. What does it mean for us to also try to work with accountants, agencies, and things along those lines? So one of the top health metrics is the industries that we're expanding into. Of course, the pipeline that might be generated by those partners. What is the scope of this person's client network, and how might that factor into what they deliver, especially because we're so early on and we're trying to onboard new partners in a way early on in our outbound phase, trying to onboard partners in a way that we haven't before. Historically, we were never measuring number of new partners. I've always thought of it as a vanity metric, but it's something that we have to pivot into now. So we really just have to show, okay, these partners might not be delivering right now, but they're going to be delivering pipeline, similar to what you were talking about, Adam. It's we've got a whole program behind us, but we're kind of at square one in this new phase of partner acquisition. So pipeline, industries, and how fast they are to a first referral for us is the main things that we're measuring right now. I'm curious to hear how other people are going about outbound partner acquisition, and if the metrics that I've just mentioned feel familiar.
Are you saying that you're curious about how people are going outbound to find partners, or how people are measuring the results of their outbound partner acquisition? Or both?
Measuring the results of their outbound partner acquisition.
I mean, just to keep the conversation going, at risk of repeating myself I see people measuring their funnel about how many prospects they've identified and reached out to, as well as the response rate back And then the next step down that funnel being like, how many people have actually done the CTA of joining the program or applying for the program are usually the 3 bits I see.
That was very interesting. And you mentioned on something that we were discussing also a couple of days ago when it's the vanity metrics. Again, there's tons of vanity metrics out there that, let me just backtrack a little bit. A lot of companies, they may have this partnership department, and I don't know if it's the same for you, but a lot of people in the company are always like, yeah, partnerships, but what exactly do you do? And it happens a lot. And even if you try to educate the company, there's always something like that. It's like, oh, it's sales, it's customer success. So to try to show, what partnerships is doing at a company. Sometimes, I've seen a lot of vanity metrics pop up like, oh my gosh, we just had this webinar with a partner and we had 500 attendees and, the attendance rate was 50%. It's unheard of. But really, what does that mean for your business? What does that even mean for the partner? How do you track that? How do you even replicate that? What were the factors that went into having this, this metrics and this data that you're sharing with the company? So they're nice to have because it's great to, just don't forget that's data that you're still collecting. But really, if it's not important to the ultimate goal, which it may be whatever it may be, revenue, whether it's source or influence, vanity metrics can be a tricky thing that we all may just be guilty of at some point. Sorry, Patricia, so too many companies are measuring the partner's referrals or deals according to what the partner. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yes. This is very true. And one thing, again, I like to hear from anybody else here in the call, but one thing that at Loopio we do is just to make sure that, we try to make it that it's a two-way relationship with our partners, which sometimes it may be a little bit harder, especially for us with service providers. We have different types of partners, and we have some that provide services around our technology. So not necessarily every customer that's in need of services, it's going to be the perfect candidate for all of the service partners that we have. But we try to encourage them to, hey, it's not only about what you give me and the referrals and the money that you're bringing me, but let me also just try to bring you into the company and do what we call a partner showcase. And it's an hour for you to talk about your services to the entire company, let's do a co-marketing activity together. But I really like your comment on that. It's great to measure what we get from the partner, but it'll be nice also to measure what we give to the partner.
Gloria, I'm curious to hear more about your partner showcase. How do you determine which partners to showcase to the whole company? Because that seems like a really massive opportunity for you to then send leads back in their direction if your customer success team, your sales team is more familiar with that.
Yeah, partner. Absolutely. So it comes to the recruitment part of it. We're very I don't know if this is old school or not, but our recruitment of partners, it's me sitting down with a prospect partner and doing a whole discovery call and, kind of having some checklist of these are the industries that we mostly work on. These are the services that our customers and prospects mostly need, and really identifying what are some of the common customers that we have, what customers do they have, to really get a better understanding of this is a partner that once educated about our product in our company could be a very good service provider for our customers. So determine it that way. We have a lot of referral partners that they wouldn't ever come in and do a partner showcase, but the ones that really bring something that not only it's a service that our customers need, but it's a piece of education that our teams can gain from them and have better conversations with our prospects and customers. Those are the ones that show up. So we try to have at least one per month, and partners love it. they love it because they're like, wow, you're giving me 45 minutes to an hour to come into the company and talk to your entire team about who we are and what we do. So again, measuring what we give to our partners as well. I think that's super important.
I hear a lot of people talking about having metrics for the number of referrals that they send to partners. Is that something that you're measuring?
No, that's definitely not something that we're measuring. I keep that track of that number. It's not something that we necessarily say, hey, this is what we are providing partners with, which interestingly enough, last year we held our first partner kickoff event. So it was a 2-hour online event. We had, some fun product roadmap and partner awards. And after the debrief, we realized and we say, wow, we're really not tracking what we are giving our partners or how they're winning by having a relationship with us. Mm-hmm. And if we're hosting this event for partners, it's not going to be very appealing to them, to say, wow, we generated this much revenue because of you guys. Thank you. Right. Yeah. So that's when I started myself taking a look at something like this. So at this partner showcase this year, we'll be able to say, this many of our customers are working with our partners, but not necessarily a metric that I'm tracking for the success of our program, which it's a good note. So I think I may start.
Yeah, I'm curious if there's any directions that you guys came to for tracking how partners are winning or how that conversation has evolved since you've had your kickoff.
Sorry, for Loopio?
Yeah. For the kickoff call that you guys did, the 2-hour kickoff call, wanting to track more about how partners are winning. What I'm curious to hear more about the direction that's going in and how that conversation is maybe evolving for your team.
Yeah, so we have had, we're tracking influenced revenue on our end because we are bringing in some partners into our opportunities. So it may not even necessarily be a referral that came from that partner, but if that partner is the perfect service provider for this customer, we may bring them on board. And then we say, well, this customer closed with us because we brought a partner into the deal. And the customer is happy with acquiring those services by the partner. So we can also track it as like, this is influence revenue for Loopio. But also we keep track of saying how many deals have a partner attached to it. So whether that's a referral partner, a reseller, a service provider, which we call our solutions partners. So yeah, just taking a look at that.
I wonder if this is a good opportunity for us to talk a bit about the tech and systems side of tracking, because Gloria, that was something you and I talked about before. How are you tracking the way that partners are attached to deals? Is it something that's really straightforward and was easy for you to build within your CRM or not?
Oh my goodness, we can have in partner stack, Patricia. Okay, yes. So I love to hear more from everybody here in the call, but myself, I started way back when with, your Google Forms and my Google Sheets and just banging my head against the wall because I was, just a little bit too much. There are ways to keep track of as much as you can if you don't have a PRM. But ideally, having a PRM would be the best solution. That's what I found for myself in my previous organization, and also at Loopio, we've implemented a PRM. And having that for partners and syncing it with our Salesforce Instant really already creates those automatic reports, right? But we also can track, what's the partner engagement, how many people are coming into the PRM to download an asset, a resource, to register a lead. We have an SSO to our learning management system to see how many people are taking courses. So you can do it. If you don't have a PRM, you can do it. But it's just going to be a lot of work for you. So there's tons of ways to track it. But I want to hear from anybody else in here. But yeah, how about for yourself, Aidan?
No, this is really challenging for us. And one of the challenges that we've had to face in our team is like early stage systems for a long period of time. So what was really unique about when I was hired is I was employee number 32. I was hired when we only had one salesperson and no sales leadership. And so we had to build things really manually. We only just started setting up our company-wide Salesforce instance in Q3 of last year. And we've had to build a lot of our infrastructure within the product, which is why so much of our metrics have been really bottom of funnel rather than pipeline related, because it's been so hard for us to track pipeline up until this point. And as we're still figuring out the right ways to implement our partnerships opportunities within Salesforce and make sure that the lead opportunities are linking to them. I like more systems and infrastructure. This is part of the reason why my team is also quite big. We got to do a lot of stuff manually before we can have the right foundations to make it super straightforward.
Interesting. And I think this brings me to another topic that we were discussing, which is partner operations, right? So partner ops, it's coming up and you hear it more and more. And some people have dedicated partner operations manager, and some people just spread the love, the operational love across the entire team. And so what are your thoughts on people, partner ops and yeah, where do you see that happening at your company?
Maybe I just revealed a little bit of a bias as to why I'm obsessed with partner ops, because it has been such a necessary function for my team and my company. There's a lot of moving parts, a lot of stuff that we're building. And because of that, I did hire a partner ops person in the summer. They were my 6th team hire or 7th team hire. We've had a little bit of ebb and flow in the team size, but I have said that if I were to start another partner program from scratch, I would hire a partner ops person as my 4th hire, because it has been invaluable to have a dedicated headcount to making sure that our Salesforce instance makes sense and properly speaks to the core company Salesforce instance. The way that they've been able to move so much faster than I can in spreadsheets and data and reporting. I learned a lot as somebody who has a sales background, figuring out what our reporting should look like and what our initial Google Sheets were and how to make those things work. But having somebody who knows the ins and outs of that has made it so much faster and made it a lot easier for us to pull more complex queries from our systems and databases. So especially the majority of where we're getting our data isn't coming from our CRM, it's coming from our product, which means we need complex queries in order to pull that. So this person has been able to set up so much infrastructure, so much flow, and especially on a team where we have a lot of people doing a lot of different things, the way that they're able to focus and tie all of that together has been beyond invaluable. Allows me to sleep at night. I'm obsessed with them. I don't think it's an easy person to hire though, because a lot of things in partnerships, there's some focus, but it's also a mishmash of a lot of different activities. There's not one square lane. It's here's data and reporting and systems, here's SOPs, and hey, we might throw you into a bunch of random projects as they come up, because there's always a lot of random things.
Aidan, I often mention that being in partnerships is a little bit of being an entrepreneur within your own company, because you're finding the business case for a partner selling this particular product, be it SaaS or otherwise. It's you're trying to build an industry inside a company.
Yeah, the business within the business.
Yeah.
So how, and this is exciting, now that you have a partner ops person and anybody else in the call that may want to share, if they have worked or are working with a partner ops person, does this allow you to track more than just your typical number of referrals, revenue, influencer stores? Does it allow you to say, hey, let's measure our partner program on this other type of metrics? And maybe if you do, what those are?
I'd be really curious to hear from other people, because so much of what this partner ops person is helping us with is change management. So because since they have joined, have moved from reporting into more of a like marketing org into the sales org, our metrics have changed along with that. So going from when we were reporting into the marketing org and CEO, we were looking at sourced revenue really holistically. So how our revenue was growing and compounding over time and the longevity of our customers. And now it's very, very firmly in net new revenue. So they've helped us with that transition and trying to figure out how we can actually track those elements, which has been really helpful. But I'm curious how people who haven't had so much change management in programs might have an ops person supporting that.
I'm curious about, you mentioned about your ops person being able to do like complex queries. Like, are you meaning like what sort of specialty skill sets did they have that allowed them to be faster? Like, is it like they can make SQL queries and things like this? Or like, like, let's say I'm hiring an ops person. What is it I need to be looking for?
In the case of the person that I hired, their ability to learn was what got them there, because we have been using Metabase for a lot of our dashboards and reporting. So Metabase is a simplified like data visualization platform that is directly integrated into our product. So that's what has been able to show us how our partnerships program is performing over time before we had Salesforce. So the way that we are building the different modules we have within those dashboards require us having some type of query that's pulling directly from the product. So we initially had worked hand in hand with finance ops to build those out, because that person was super familiar with SQL and building those queries within Metabase. And he showed my ops person, Roxanne, I feel weird not talking about them as like by name. Her name is Roxanne. They showed her how they built these queries, and she's been able to learn enough by osmosis because she's been really interested to get that type of data. She'd previously been working with Salesforce and knew how to build complex reporting within Salesforce previously and help with like Google Sheets and Excel really easily. So her understanding of how to visualize dashboards and what kind of metrics we would want to pull help to translate into her learning of these queries. She's not able to do like a full master query, but she knows enough to be dangerous and enough to ask the right questions on how far she is somewhere to help us move a bit faster and getting more robust modules within our database right now.
And Ada, maybe to answer your question, at least in our case, we do have partner ops, and that's an essential as you grow. Two things, you're kind of looking to similar profile as sales up, because in a way it's fairly similar. There's all those pipeline management, Salesforce, things like this. In our case, probably two other skill, legal, because they don't need to be a lawyer. It's just like they manage our contract here, all our partnership contract and agreement. So they need to kind of be able to learn that process. And I will say just the ability to track business process, who's managing what. We're a larger org for 1,000 employees, so it's like that's like who needs approval, we need all of this, so they kind of need to become an expert or fairly I would say have the sense of urgency of tracking things, not waiting for things to just get approved. So that would be the two things.
Oh my goodness, absolutely. You're speaking to my heart right now when it comes to, getting these things across the line and measuring that, because it does affect also that first, like the initial phase of that relationship with partners. And no, I don't want to, just put you on the spot right now, but I really like your message on an actual channel ops team. And if you want to or not, come off mute and let us know a little bit more about what the team looks like and what they work on. Because, we're talking about like partner support, a whole new array of metrics that come out of that, right? Like who forms part of this channel ops organization and how do you rely on them?
Sure. Hey, everybody. My name is Noah Mazer. I work for HPE Aruba, so maybe a little bit bigger, more on the vendor side. Our partner ops team, they help with, as Stefan said, everything from legal issues to partner support, you name it. And they do everything to tracking the metrics. They assist with partner escalations. We deal with everything from ISVs to service providers to globals. And these partners, or sorry, my channel ops team, they're key to providing that best relationship with everybody, making sure that everything can be done in a proactive manner. And then when something is reactive, they're the sources of truth that know how to get everything fixed up. I love my channel ops team. They're great. Couldn't do it without them.
And what
Can you
metrics specifically do you look at for the efficiency and what they do, how they benefit to your partner relationships?
I can't speak to that one. I'm more on the program management side of things, and in terms of the partner ops metrics, I don't have that expertise. I apologize.
No problem. Thank you so much, though, for sharing with us.
Noah, I'm curious if you'd be open to sharing a little bit more about what you mean when you say that the partner ops team handles escalations.
Sure. So I work in a worldwide role, and we have many regional sub-programs. So each region has their own interface to support their direct partners and who they're doing business with and how to, close deals in regions and work with those specific intricacies. So I guess the partner ops team is they just work to provide that best case experience for anything that is escalated from a regional level up to the worldwide, where we need to bring in either a channel chief, have that type of escalation where it goes to another team or an executive stakeholder to really drive a case to resolution. It's, a lot of these things are, I guess, bigger tenders, and they're looking to close these out in I guess, as quick of a manner as possible, as some of these bigger partners can get a little impatient.
Such a good point, Noah, around it's like no matter how many systems you have, it is a relationships business, and you are dealing with people the other side, and having someone to step in and handle an escalation and put the right people together. It's not all just systems, right? There's another human at the other end. That's the partner. And
exactly.
That can get lost sometimes when we're automating all of our touch points and nurturing engagements.
And one of the bigger things that our partner ops team or channel ops team is really critical with, and that we've done a great job working with, and some of the other teams in your organizations may not be thinking about, is the partner experience. Everything comes down to the partner experiences. They're going to be the indirect, sales force that you're working with to grow and scale your business. And we want to provide them as great of an opportunity and experience with us as we can. So everything you have, from partner facing tools to how you're interacting with them to the support you're providing them. When you have a contact that knows their way around the organization, knows all the different escalation points, and is able to do it in a positive partner facing manner, that's going to be, that's what we look for, at least in our partner ops team.
People know who their person is, not what their ticket number is.
Exactly. The partner's not going to, they're going to reach out to their business manager before they submit a ticket every day of the week. And that business manager is going to know someone in ops because they have your email from some other escalation. They're going to ask, hey, how can you help me out?
It's interesting to hear how it sounds like in your ops organization, they are so integrated with the rest of the company. And I think that that's one of the most important things, of course, with partnerships in general, but certainly with ops, and why I've felt so strongly about ops being under the partnerships organization rather than potentially a headcount in a centralized organization, is really being able to understand and advocate what the partners' needs are and know how the systems work to be able to find their way through them, rather than us feeling like we're kind of knocking on people's doors and making requests and demands from other departments. That's been, I think, a common refrain that some of us feel in partnerships.
Varshni, I like your comment on direct sales versus partner sales insights. Yeah, I think that that's something that at Loopio we ourselves would definitely look at. Do you want to share a little bit more about that in your comment with us?
Absolutely, Gloria. This is Vashni. So currently we are initiating our entire process with channel and partner sales, right? So we're super, super new to the entire process, which is also why I was very curious to meet similar like-minded people from across the board who've done that before, like, been there, done that, have tested a lot of waters and shared most of their experiences specifically from what they've learned with brutal mistakes and much more, right? So currently what we probably prioritize the entire partner model for was primarily because we did see a lot of agencies and much more have a very similar ICP to ours, which we weren't able to tap in because of various restrictions, right? Lack of resources on our end, mostly language barriers when we're trying to break into Russia or European regions, LATAM, and much, much more. So when we did understand the basic aspects of how we'd been performing in those regions versus what would scale it up with partners is essentially where we put this entire motion into place per se, right? So from that perspective, to just get started off with, the ops aspect of it is primarily, again, managed by just me and a teammate of mine. So we're basically in this phase where we're still training all of our partners, and we're scaling it up. So I would typically say we're in the 0 to 3 month period of everything. We're still defining all of the metrics, but just to gauge all of this and have them as a base in terms of being able to gauge it against what we've had in the past was something that we'd planned to do. But everything that I've heard about so far, and primarily the support as well, right? Just so that we can scale it gradually and strongly, was something that I'm really going to take back to the rest of my team as well. But honestly, Gloria, just getting started. So just here for all the years and more advice from experts such as yourselves.
Yeah, thank you so much. And I think it's important to really understand, regardless, if it's a small partnerships team or a large partnerships team, a small company versus a large company, just if you want to make sure that something is effective, you have to make investments in that department. So whether that's tech stack or, that's a larger head count, because you can't stretch your team too thin. You can, just try to gather data manually from different places and try to prove this is why we need more investment, because this is what we're producing right now. It's not sustainable. It's not scalable if the investment it's not made into making sure that the partnership function it's working properly, because it's not only yourself and the service that you're doing to your company and your team, but it's also that relationship. Once you go into a partnership, it's very hard. If it doesn't work, it's very hard that you'll be able to get them to go into a partnership with you again. That relationship, it's broken. It's a bad ex, right?
Mm-hmm.
Unless for some crazy circumstances, you find the benefit of becoming a partner again. So with the data that we collect and the tracking and reporting that we offer to the entire company, really, it should help us not only ourselves to see like what tweaks and improvements we need to do to our partner program, but also to make sure that, we show, yes, these are the results that you get from our partners. And this is what we need a stronger investment into a little department of 1 or 3 to get to a team of 7, and then to get to a team of partnerships that has a whole channel ops team, right? So the investment is needed if you want to escalate and have those great relationships with your partners.
Yeah. Thank you so much for that, Gloria.
Sure.
I saw a really interesting presentation from Ty Lingley over at Ally, and he was talking about kind of getting buy-in and alignment with management around the long-term goals of a partner program. I can't remember where I saw the presentation, but Ally has since been acquired by Microsoft, and so now he's doing partnership stuff there. But he talked about using like OKRs to really gauge the commitment and to get that commitment from the C-suite so that you know kind of what their goals are, which can really inform some of the data that you need to feed upwards. Because it becomes a very different question if you know that the company expects some sort of result in Q1 versus they're willing to spend the entire year to kind of find the correct fit and ideate on how it is we're going about this. That level of patience and long-term vision you have can very much affect the amount of leeway you have to experiment as opposed to drive immediate results.
You are absolutely right. One thing that we used to have OKRs at Loopio, and now we're going with this is our North Star. And these are the 4 pillars that are going to help us get there. And so what we are doing right now, it's okay, partnerships, which pillars are we contributing to and how that will ultimately get us to achieve that annual goal that we have for the company. And so it's a very interesting approach, but I feel very excited and confident to say, okay, so, we want to build an enterprise solution for our customers. So how's partnership contributing to that with our integration partners, and show that result at the end. And again, that's a great metric to provide. And if the partnership team contributed to reaching that goal, then how amazing, right? Hopefully here's 2 more people to join the team. I don't know. But yeah, no, that's definitely very important to connect our goals as a team to the overall goal of the company, for sure.
I feel like it's a really common refrain. Like, gosh, if I just had another person.
It's never enough. It's never enough.
That's a really interesting system, Gloria, the North Star with 4 pillars. I feel like that is so resonant because OKRs can be so useful, but at the same time, at least in my experience at the companies that I've worked for that have used OKRs, they're often sort of built in vacuums and become quite siloed. As much as you try to like bubble them up to the overall company values, they're not worked on super collaboratively. So it's interesting to hear a similar and yet different approach where this is what we're trying to do. Here are the 4 areas, and then you say how you're trying to contribute to that.
And it's very interesting because it really allows what you say for cross-functional collaboration, even within, the different tactics or projects that we have within those pillars. These are formed of cross-functional teams. So like within my team, I have people from CX and product marketing and sales enablement and product, obviously, integrations. So everybody's in the know, everybody's contributing. And so I think it's a very exciting approach. But then, we just started our year, so we'll see how it goes. Maybe we'll have this roundtable again next year.
Anytime. Sorry, I think I cut someone off when I was asking you to share more about that.
Or next month. Yes, Patricia, absolutely. I think that, metrics is definitely something that we could just have tons of conversations about all the time. But I know that we have 6 minutes left, so I don't know if there's any other question or that we can address.
I had a follow-up, and it probably sounds more combative than it is. But when I talked about like measuring partner acquisition funnel pieces, Gloria, you kind of pivoted into speaking about vanity metrics. So I'm the judging. So do you think measuring my partner acquisition efforts would edge into the realm of the vanity metric when maybe I am a program manager who's under pressure to be showing whatever results I have. I'm 3 months into spinning up my partner program and I haven't gotten a sale yet. I need to report something. Am I leaning on a vanity metric right now? Or is this something that's required?
No, I think that looking at partner acquisition, it's important. I think that maybe just saying, and again, once you're starting your program and saying, hey, like this month we signed up 10 new partners. And again, it's the first month that there's a partnership department in the company, that's great, right? But as your program evolves, I think that, yes, it's great to look at how many new partners you brought on board, but like even are they the right partners? Or are we just doing a numbers game, right?
Yep.
Are they on specific industries? Maybe if your customer base is 40% in financial services, then do we have partners that, will really provide some benefit to our customers? So I think that everything it's good to take a look at, but as the program works and we really want to see the efficiency of what our partners are providing as in our customers with, we really need to take a look a little bit beyond that. But we do need to celebrate along the way. So especially as you're starting, it's great to have somebody to get into a relationship with you and the company, right? That's a big win and it should definitely be celebrated.
That's a great point, Gloria. And I know that when I was working with Mira, who's over at Loopio now, so tell Mira I say hello. But we are really pushing hard like the ideal partner personas when saying like you can't just let anyone in. There's got to be a reason. So like what is the fit here that your partner has with that? And maybe some of those metrics you start to measure about like your partner prospects, like they should fit that ideal partner profile. You can't just have Bob the blogger come in and like throw your copy onto his website if his audience is not the people who care about the problems you're solving.
Yeah. And again, you want to be careful and really care for that relationship that you're starting with that partner, right? Because if we're going crazy and acquiring all of these partners and we don't even have a dedicated touch point with them, that relationship is going to fizzle. And, you're going to get churn from the partners that you recruited and you never really got to even get an opportunity from them. And, how does that impact also how your program is working, right? So like it could be beneficial, but it could also be a deterrent to saying, well, you're signing up partners, but they're all dropping you within 6 months. That's not good. So yeah, a little care and love for our partners and measuring that.
Do you mind me asking how long it takes Loopio for like a partner of Loopio's to make it to their first sale from their acquisition?
It could be that we're signing an agreement because they already have an opportunity, and it could be 6 months, or it could be, it definitely varies, but we do get a lot of traction. You have to also, again, oh my gosh, we're almost out of time, but like one thing that we do track, and I track myself, I think for personal reasons, is which of our partners are transactional. So like how many deals should I be getting from this transactional partners that all they want is a commission because they were going to refer a business to us, right? So they're going to have a quicker turnaround time. Whereas we're this ones that we're really building this relationship. It's more like a strategic alliance, and I may not see anything for 9 months, but it's going to be a big deal, right? So like I can also say, I will not expect anything from a new alliance for the first 6 months, or resellers 6 to 9 months until they ramp up. Whereas, my referral partners, I can say, okay, come in, you have all the tools that you need, go out and promote and bring us an opportunity, right?
I think to double down on what you guys are saying, partner acquisition is like the leading indicator of some type of product market fit. And it's obviously important if you're going to be able to generate revenue from partners that you have partners. But what we focused on, and why I've talked about partner acquisition or the number of new partners as a vanity metric rather than the target to set for us to really focus on, is a lot of what Gloria says, the care and time and efficiency of the program overall. So what we've been focusing on a lot over the past few years is the percentage of active partners that we have and the number of referrals per active partner that we see, and trying to use those as sort of like a scoring model for the types of partners that we try to spend the most time with, or who we might need to try to like bring forward and move up from dormancy.
I frequently see an early stage partner program just trying to crank the numbers of outreach points they have, and then not understand why they haven't come through those other funnels that exist around building the relationship and enabling them to their first sale, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I gel with that. I'm just picking the fight for the sake of conversation.
No, we love that. I know we're out of time. We want to be respectful of everybody's calendar. Thank you so much for joining and for, sharing with us. I'm definitely super excited. You can find me in the CSA Slack channel or on LinkedIn. I'm always happy to chat about all things partnerships.
Thanks for all of your great engagement, everybody here too. It was super awesome to learn from you and hear you guys talk about the way that you're thinking about partnerships in your programs.
And if people do want partnership acquisition hacks, I have some, that I'd be happy to share. I'm also on the CSA Slack channel.
Yeah, so
I think it would be
you
helpful.
Can host our next roundtable, Adam.
Sure, on it. I'll just get Emma to sign off on it. She's not here. She left.
This is Patricia. I would like to add that I have some templates for partnership metrics and program frameworks and operational workflows and things like that. If you're interested, I'm in the Slack channel as well. So Slack workspace.
Yeah, you'll be thanked by me. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, everyone. We'll keep the conversation going on in Slack, and we'll see you at the next roundtable. Thank you so much to our wonderful hosts and for everyone being here. Bye, everyone.